mystery diagnosis. Thank you for subscribing.
Calvin starts feeling strange.
I began to start having the sweats. I felt nauseated. My back would hurt particularly. Flu-like symptoms.
I said, we can postpone the trip. We don't need to go. He insisted that he was okay. And it's just a bug. It'll be gone.
Calvin and Cheryl decide to go ahead with their trip. But during the flight to Belize, he takes a turn for the worse.
I was beginning to run a temperature, started sweating, and was feeling very, very bad. Started having a pain, particularly in my lower back. My fever would go way up. I would start sweating, shaking uncontrollably, and that's in a place where it's very hot. I was getting quite concerned that I had something much more than the flu.
And a few days later, another frightening symptom develops.
I started coughing blood after about a week of being sick like this.
Vasculitis.
I called the doctor one more time and told him about that, and he says to see him as soon as I got back. It was like the cloudiness in the lungs never totally went away like anticipated.
When the doctor would look at his lung x-ray, there was shadows. It was dark in some area, and she attributed that to scar tissue left over from the pneumonia.
The scar tissue theory seems to make sense, and over the next few months, Calvin begins feeling better. He figures the episode is behind him.
But I thought most everything had gone away. And then that fall, I started having some of the same symptoms. I'd start getting these chills, and then I would break out in the sweats. Some nights they'd be very severe, and some nights they would be very minor.
He would wake up and his fever would get really high. It got as high as 104. And once the fever would break, and it would just be gone.
Calvin checks in with his doctor about the relapse and is given pain relievers, but they don't help. His symptoms persist, and their patterns remain the same.
I started feeling extremely ill, again with the pain where I almost couldn't move.
He felt flushed and clammy, and the pain in his back was worse. He could not sit up in his chair at the meeting, so he called his doctor and told him, I feel terrible. Something is definitely wrong with me. And the doctor said at that time to go to the emergency room for a CT scan.
A CT scan provides a more precise picture than the x-rays Calvin has had previously.
The morning after the CT scan, Calvin and I were in bed. The phone rang, and I answered the phone, and it was Calvin's doctor.
She said, Calvin, get immediately to the hospital, to the emergency room, because you have a pulmonary embolism, and you should be hospitalized.
That's Finn's word for blood clot.
I wasn't sure if I was going to live to get to the hospital or not.
At the hospital, Calvin is immediately put on blood thinners to prevent another clot from forming in his lung. For now, it seems he has dodged a bullet.
We did feel that that was the cause of all the other problems. He was feeling confident that they found it and it's over. And we would just go along with the treatment. And if he had to stay on blood thinners the rest of his life, he'd do that.
The pulmonary embolism scare is over. And it keeps happening.
So at the time, I was having 4, 5, or 6 pulmonary embolisms. Some of them big and some of them fairly minor. They just keep intensifying. It feels like you've been shot in the stomach with a cannonball or a bowling ball. And literally a couple times it has just knocked me to the ground.
We were certain that there's some underlying cause that nobody seems to be able to find out. There is a disease hiding in there, and maybe it sleeps for a little while and then it comes back.
I felt again like a revolving door. I would get well for a while and then I'd end up back in the hospital a couple months later. I felt that I was sinking a little bit lower and lower every time. I was not recovering as quickly or as well as I had before.
Vasculitis is an illness in which the immune system attacks the body's own blood vessels. The vessels become inflamed and swollen, causing pain, ruptures, and in some cases, a breakdown in normal organ functions. It affects thousands of Americans each year. Dr. Schreiner prescribes Calvin prednisone, a steroid, and cyclophosphamide, an immunosuppressant. These medications are used to calm down his overactive immune system.
And I guess it was probably about 6 months later that I realized, hey, I'm feeling pretty good. And all those symptoms seem to have gone away.
Today, Calvin is feeling better and hopeful that he has a long future ahead of him.
Calvin did what all of us should do. If we're doing what our doctors are asking and we're undergoing tests,
talk to my insurance company and tell them I needed something else, I'm sure I'd probably be dead by now.
When Calvin
That wasn't too bad. That's my footrest on my chair. That's why I kept making the noise, just to show you the footrest. Is a real helpful start. I'm being sarcastic. I got 3 stars. I didn't know they could come in gold. I thought they were just automatically, like, always silver. But this is my first time getting gold stars, I think. I may have missed it before when it was like counted up, because I usually don't see it when it counts up. For watching, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to know when I post a video, and I'll see you next time.